So what's going on, Easy E? Hey guys, how you doing? Kunal here. This is my good friend, Easy E, otherwise known as Eric.
How's it going?
What's going on, my man?
We're in the cigar factory.
Again, this is kind of our work hangout. We take our computers, makes us feel good like we're getting some work done, but then we end up smoking cigars and drinking wine and chatting about stocks.
Yeah. But, I mean, we wanted to do a quick video for you guys.
Sure, let's go.
And
what you got?
We're going to talk about planning for retirement or growing a savings account. Some people want to retire early. Some maybe are getting ready to retire and are looking for ways they can grow their savings account to have that nest egg, or maybe just enjoy those years after retirement. So I mean, just to start off, do you have any tips on how people can kind of grow their savings account, whether they're looking to retire early or getting ready to retire?
Yeah, so this is actually a really good subject, and especially for people that want to get involved in trading or the trading community, because I think a lot of times people assume like if they're like a trader, they just have like these tens of millions of dollars, right? Like I'm a trader, therefore I don't have to do the things that people do that work.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like trading is a profession, right? It's no different than being a doctor or a lawyer, accountant, engineer, whatever, right? It's your job. And so just like in any job, you have to prepare for the days that you're not doing that job.
Yeah.
As nothing goes forever. And a lot of traders don't do that, or people that want to get into trading don't realize that. And so they, get rid of their 401ks and start trading. I get emails all the time like, should I cash out my 401k or IRA to start trading? And it's like, well, it's going to be a long road, and you're still going to need that stuff. And so the first thing to do is remember, like, this is a job, right? Any type of trading. And so you've got to have this. And so you need those traditional vehicles to do it. Now, for like traders, like what I tell my students is, my students, the ones that do trading for full time,
yeah,
they're either going to incorporate themselves or build an LLC around their business, right? As traders, you are the CEO of your small business, and you're trying to take it to a big business. But you're the CEO of that enterprise, and so you have to make the same type of decisions. And so if you're a small business owner, like I have at Bulls on Wall Street for my employees, right? SEP IRAs. So an IRA is essentially a retirement vehicle where you put money into it, and it's a savings vehicle. Yeah. Like in Canada, you have the TFSAs or TFSPs or something like it's something with the T, but it's essentially just a tax-deferred savings vehicle.
Yeah.
So if you're a trader, having IRAs is a good vehicle to put money into it so that you could save for your retirement. So that's what I do for my employees. And that's what a lot of my students will do. That's what I do for myself. Is I put everything into an SEP IRA, and then I trade it. I invest in myself, and I don't day trade it. That'd be a little bit wild, but I do swing trading. 1 to 1 month holds.
Yeah.
1 week to 1 month holds, and I use the same parameters that would be day trading with in terms of the style, but I just do it on longer term time frame.
What about like for people who maybe have never traded before?
Okay, so this is good too, because depending on where you work, you will have your employer, like most employers have some type of matching. So like say you contribute $5,000 to your 401k or $5,000 or whatever retirement vehicle you have, depending on the country you live in. A lot of companies will match it up to a certain level. So like when I had a job, my company would match 100% of what I put in up to like $10,000.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it, if you put in $10,000, your employer's going to match $10,000. That's before you actually invest any of it. So it's 100% return for free.
Yeah.
Right? It's a no-risk 100% return. And so you have to, whatever your employer says they're going to match to, you have to do it. Now the problem is you have to take money out of your paycheck or what would go into your paycheck and do that, right? So if you make $60,000, $70,000 a year or whatever, taking out 10,000, it's a cramp on your lifestyle, especially for, you know, the younger people or, you know, us degenerates that sit on YouTube all day, right? What are we looking at on YouTube all day? Sports cars, private plane videos, right? Nobody wants to save that $10,000. They're like, well, I might need it. But it's free money, and you've got to do it because I'm 35 years old. I started Bulls on Wall Street in my 20s. I literally had a fucking full head of hair like Bradley Cooper, man. I was like the brown Brad Pitt, right? And now look, a few years later, you're my age, and now you come and work with me, and right, the cycle starts all over. But in 7 or 8 years, you'll be my age, you know, and that's how it goes. It comes so fast. I can literally remember yesterday I started Bulls on Wall Street. Mary Beth was in college. Now she's got a baby and is married and 30. Go figure, right? It happened so quick. It happened like this. I mean, you have to be saving for this stuff.
Yeah.
And that short-term pain of like, oh, I need that $10,000 or $5,000. And don't think you have to put $10,000, right? It's whatever you can do, the max. But that's the thing. It's a short-term pain for very, very long-term benefits because these things, right, compounding interest means exponentially growing things.
Yeah.
So that $5,000 or $10,000 you put in now could be worth $100,000 when you're older and you need it. And that's big.
Yeah.
Because when you're older and you need it, you can't really count on these days. I don't think, I mean, if you guys look at what's happening in the world, the governments are charging people negative interest rates, meaning they're essentially stealing from the citizens of the world. You can't even put money in the bank anymore without getting charged. You have to go out and fend for yourself. So if you think like your company's going to give you some pension plan and it's safe, it's not. I see in the U.S. Airplane unions, the car companies, those people work their asses off. They thought they had nice pensions that they could depend on, and then you know what they did once they were old? They ripped it away. They declare bankruptcy, they take it away. Anything you think is secure is not secure. The only thing that's secure is the money that you have, that you've made, that you are personally managing. That's all, right? Your own skills and your own money. These days you can't count on the government or even your own company, even if you've been there a long time, to provide you when you're going to need it.
So, like, I mean, on that topic, for people to protect themselves, you're saying basically just to grow like an IRA?
So if you're in a job, like a corporate job, you'll probably have a 401k.
Okay, yeah.
But everybody, at least in the U.S., they can contribute also to an IRA, which is called like an individual retirement account. So one of the good ones is like a Roth IRA. I used to do this when I was working all the time. A Roth IRA is money that you put into the IRA, and it grows tax-free. So like as you're trading it or investing it, it grows tax-free. But then when you take it out when you're older, you're also not getting taxed. And so it's like the nuclear time bomb of retirement savings in a good way. In a good way because it's so tax deferred. Where a lot of IRAs actually, like a traditional IRA, you can put it in now and you get a little bit of tax benefits. But then when you take it out when you're in your 60s, you're going to get taxed. You know, at whatever the tax rate's going to be, 20, 30, 40%. You don't know. The model says that you get taxed at, right, whatever amount of money you're taking out and, you know, what your income level is.
Yeah.
But you don't know what the tax rates are going to be in 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
For the amount of debt this world has, those tax rates, we could be like France or Germany or Sweden or whatever, and we could have 60, 70% taxes, and there's nothing we can do about it. So get yourselves into those tax-deferred vehicles where when you take it out, Uncle Sam is not getting any of it.
Yeah.
Or Aunt Samantha, depending on who's president.
So, I mean, in terms of, like, say if someone, you know, maybe someone's 25, 30, 35, and, you know, is looking to retire earlier, you know, before 65. Maybe they want to retire before 50.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything they can do to kind of speed that up?
100%. I mean, something like I do right now, like, pay off your house early, right? Get rid of, like, your debts. One of the things is, you know, people think they have to have X amount of money saved and make this much money, and that's true. Like, you have to have certain amounts of things. But one of the best things you can do that you can control now is just really getting rid of all your expenses.
Yeah.
You know, like living under your means, paying off your house, right? Having that cash. and not having big credit card debts and stuff like that. And so what will happen is, if you're in your 40s or 50s or whatever, if you don't have any bills, then the amount of money you need is also a lot less.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things to do is try to pay off as much as you can and live like that clean lifestyle. Because I've lived this like when I was in my 20s, I had a job. Like I'd make $40,000 and I spent $40,000. Then I got a raise to $50,000, so I was like, wow, I can get a better car. Then you make $60,000, you're like, oh, I can move out of my mom's house and get this. And then you make $70,000, you're like, oh, I'll just get a better car.
Yeah.
And then you make $80,000, you say I'm gonna move out of my apartment and get a house. Then you make $90,000, you say I'm gonna get rid of my Taurus and get a Lexus. Then you make $100,000, you think you've made it, and right now I'm gonna take more vacations.
Yeah.
So before you know, right, you're just in this like never-ending cycle of stuff. And we're all in it. No matter how much money you make, you always want to buy stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in making so much money that whatever you buy is not going to be it's not going to hit you in the pocketbook the way it needs to. You just have to live frugal until you get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's really easy to get caught up in the whole keeping up with the Joneses type of thing.
It is.
And the thing too is like when you live more simply, I mean, you find happiness in things that may not cost money. Or, you just find different things to do, right? That you may not have if, you're buying all the toys and stuff.
Yeah, when I was making the decision to quit my job and start trading full time, I knew I had to cut out all my debts. So I stopped going out. I stopped doing the stuff that I would do. See, I thought, because I was working my ass off at my job, when you're working 78 hours a week, you have to go out on Friday, right? It's the only way to justify the slaving away you did the other 5 days, right? You got to go out and do what you do and hoot it up and do all this stuff. And so you end up spending a lot of money and doing all this stuff. And when I made the decision, and I was all about that, by the way. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like higher than them. Man, I would go fucking hoot it up. Like, that's what I would do. Yeah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for football. Every day I could think of something to do. Because I'm working. Well, I work so hard. I've got to go out and do this stuff, right? Like, I work so hard. And when I made the decision to leave my job and start trading full time, it was like I had to clean out a lot of expenses because I needed to know how much money I had. You have to have money for like a spare trading account. What if you blow your trading account? You have to have a spare one.
Yeah.
You have to have money in the bank because you don't want to start trading and then the first day you start trading, you're like, I got my mortgage due. Right? You have to have months of living expenses in the bank. And so the best way to do that is to cut out all the junk before you do it.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised you don't need it. Like me, I've had the same best friends, 4 best friends, idiot best friends my whole life. Like, they helped me. I told them what I want to do. I'm like, guys, I'm going to trade full time. I'm going to start this company. And they're like, we'll come work for you. I'm like, well, I don't have any money right now. Hey, man, we'll save, we'll do our thing. And we literally, we went back to, being kids. We're 20 years old. We play basketball every day, go do shit at the park, fuck around with our families. God forbid you actually hang out with your parents once in a while. And, we would do stuff together, and it didn't cost anything. And we'd actually spend time with people that we like, which also doesn't cost anything. And that helped save money, but then it also kind of, it started a good feedback loop too. Because what happens when you're doing stuff like that versus the other stuff is you feel better, you're a little bit more productive, you're also spending a lot more time with people that you like and enjoy, and so your life is better. And so what happens is you slowly start to cycle into a much better phase of yourself, right? Because you're operating at a better capacity. And so now it's like right when it rains, it pours. And this is what's happening, right? A couple good decisions beget more and more and more. And the circle of goodness, it starts to roll. And that's how it goes. That's how you really make money, right? It's a series of small decisions that start to snowball. And then before you know it, it's like a runaway train. And then next thing you know, you have stuff going on. And it took a long time, but that it starts to just build up. And then when it starts to build up, it doesn't just stay slow forever, right? It's bigger and bigger.
It goes back to what you're saying about compounding.
Yeah, it's compounded. And then that's when you get that exponential growth in your bank account, in your personal life, in your love life, wherever you're looking at. It's a pretty cool thing. So save.
Before we begin this, I just want to touch on something you said about traders basically opening their own LLC. Like when would you recommend they do that? Like should they be at a certain level of?
Yeah. So people ask me that all the time. One of the things that it's one of the first questions people ask me. There's two questions people always ask me. Where do I scan? Like how do I find the stocks? Which is also a bullshit question. Not bullshit question, but it's such a small part of trading.
Yeah.
Finding the stocks is like the easiest thing in trading. You know, in any given day, there's a handful of good stocks running around. I mean, they're literally hitting you in the face. Like, you don't have to find them. They find you, essentially.
Yeah.
But, and then the second part is always, well, how do I set up the business to get out of my taxes? And it's, I tell people the same thing. Look, your main worry, if you're going to talk to me, and those are the two questions you have, you're thinking the wrong way. Because we don't even know if you can make a buck yet.
Yeah.
Let alone come up with some way to have a company so that you pay the proper taxes.
Yeah.
Learn how to make $1. Make $100 or $1,000. The thing is, you don't need any LLCs and corporations, anything, so you can actually make money.
Yeah.
And most people can't. And because they're focused on the wrong stuff. You know, they're so ahead of themselves with, oh, I gotta have this amazing structure. I mean, I get people ask me like, oh, should I move to Puerto Rico to save my taxes? I'm like, you don't make any money. When you make $1 million, then, you know, think about it. And even then, look, this is the greatest country in the history of the earth. I pay the tax because I'm living in an awesome place. It's the price you pay sometimes. And sure, there's some things you can do to, of course, lessen the load. And that's what I do. You know, I trade inside an LLC and then, you know, a whole host of different companies I have.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I always have a good tax structure, but in the end, you're still not going to escape them.
Yeah.
You pay them. It's the price you pay to be in America, the greatest country in the history of the earth. We kick ass. World War I, World War II, we saved your asses.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, cool. Well, I guess we're good. Cheers, man.
Peace. Good talking to you, my man.